So the other day, I said to myself,
"Hey Jaden, you should build a stand for that finger brake over there."
and I replied with,
"You know what? That's a wonderful idea. I should build one."
so I carefully measured out the finger brake, whipped up a design, rated my steel supplier's scrap bin, and got to work. After I completed the stand and put the finger brake on top, I realized that I was a little bit too short on my measurements. This left me with two options. I could either throw away everything I just built, or I could find a solution to this mistake. In this video, I will show you how you can create a functional product out of a mistake like this. Let's get started. The first step I took to resolve my mistake was to evaluate my mistake, or in other words, what happened and what can be done to solve this. Here you can see how the finger brake overlapped the stand by about 1/4 inch on each side. Now that I know what happened, I can now figure out what needs to be done. The first thing I'm going to look at is whether I can shift my mistake to something more manageable. For example, can I move the overhang to one side? In this case, yes, I can move the overhang to one side. However, this may not apply to your project. For example, if your item is heavier on one side than the other, your project may not be properly balanced, and that could lead to bigger problems. Moving the overhang to one side works for me, mainly because the weight is evenly distributed throughout the finger brake. With that out of the way, I can now figure out how I want to fix my mistake. Since I'm able to shift the overhang to one side, I now need to figure out what side I should shift my mistake to. When you look at the stand from the front, you can see how on the left side of the stand there is a handle. However, on the right side, there is nothing in the way of any support material. This encourages me to shift my mistake to the right side. Now that the overhang is on one side, I can easily work out what needs to be done. In this case, you can see how I need to add an extra bit of steel to support the overhang. Now would be a great time to explore our options for adding support to the overhang. In this example, we have a few options for adding support. We can weld on a piece of square tubing, a solid block of steel, or we can use a piece of angle iron. In my opinion, one of the best ways to work out what piece that I need to use is to visit your local steel supplier, or in my case, your local scrapyard, look around in their scrap bin or scrap yard. After I looked around for a few minutes, I found a piece that would work for me. The piece that I was looking for needs to be long enough to fit across the stand and deep enough to support the finger brake. Another thing that needs to be considered when deciding on a suitable piece is the thickness of your piece. You want to make sure that the piece is indeed thick enough to support the finger brake, because the last thing we need is a mistake on top of a mistake. I know. After I found an appropriate piece, I welded the piece onto the stand, drilled a few holes, and I was done. Now what I would like you to take from a mistake like this is don't look at it as, "Oh my God, I just made a huge mistake. Let's throw away everything I just did." No, I would recommend to look at a mistake like this as a learning opportunity. You came out of this mistake stronger than you were before you made this mistake. We all learn by mistakes. Another example is in cooking. You're not going to know how much salt is too much salt until you've played around in a kitchen. So at the end of the day, there is no need to panic when you make a big mistake like this. Instead, take it as a learning opportunity and work it out.